He'll get here. All right, we're going to go ahead and get started. Welcome to the City Advertising and Promotion Commission workshop for April the 12th at 5 p.m. We have the Paradise Advertising presentation, and I'm just going to turn that over to you guys to get started. And I want to invite the commissioners to sit down front.
All right. Good to see you. Are you going to say anything? Are you going to? Up and down, up and down. You can walk wherever.
Hello, everyone. My name's Madison. I think you all know me. We have Nicole and Rudy with Paradise. They're going to go over their 2022 marketing plan. After they're finished, we're going to allow the commissioners to ask any questions that they have, and then we'll open it up to the public, okay? Go ahead, guys.
Great, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having us here. We are so excited to be back in Eureka Springs. I know we've had a chance to touch base with y'all and those of you that are watching. We're back in market. We were here last month, and we had the opportunity to meet with so many of you at the awesome Eureka Springs Coffee House. You guys all came down and gave us the information, right, that we were looking for. We were looking to hear from you, what's important to you, what you want to see as part of your marketing plan, what initiatives need to be happening, right, all that stakeholder involvement. And so we're back here today to show you the plan that's up and running and where we're at. We want to talk to you about a number of things. So one of the things that we want to start with is just overall strategy, right? A lot of this feedback came from here in the community, driving brand awareness and affinity, as well as maximizing our visitor economy. Additionally, we really heard from you doubling down on driving growth and then improving those stakeholder relationships. So you're going to see a lot of items in here today as we go through that really relate to that community element. And then, of course, when it comes to messaging, right person, right place, and right message. So recapping our goals, key primary goals for the destination are increasing our length of stay, right? We want to get that length of stay window larger than where we have it and keep growing it. Now, in doing that, you want to cultivate those higher income travelers coming into town. So we want to see more increased spend in the destination. Some of the times and windows that we want to get some of that spend up is during midweek. We heard from a lot of you, right? Midweek is a time where we have need, and so we're looking at different programs where we could start to fill some of those days. Some of the things we talked about last time, right, was working with you on event management. How can we pull events in and off of Saturdays and Fridays and get them into the week a little bit earlier so we can fill some of those gaps? And then this also relates to the targeting that Rudy's going to go over with you today. We also want to raise awareness for all of our lodging options, right? We want to show the plethora and availability that we have, how many rooms we have online. Super important that when consumers are looking to where they're going to travel, that they can see there's a lot of opportunity. And with that, we also heard raising awareness for restaurants, amenities, and attractions. Right? Folks don't just come to a destination because there's just a downtown or there's somewhere to stay. They need to eat, they want things to do, they want to move around, and they want to be excited about that travel. So we want to make sure that we're integrating all of that in a regional way. Additionally, organizational goals are key. Transparency, number one thing that we heard, right? So what is transparency? It really is about sharing the why and the how. It's part of why we're here today. And I know that from the CAPC, they're going to be implementing strategies too that we're going to talk about. Community engagement. So that's about being here today, right, for this meeting, listening in. That's about being here for the end of the month's meetings, email cadences. Any way that we can get you guys engaged and participating is excellent. And that falls in line with collaboration. So you've all seen this model, right? This is the model that we like to use when it comes for information management. And it's how we work at Paradise. We like the information to be able to flow in through the DMO, or as you see here, CAPC intelligence, and then have it fuel that visitor economy, our stakeholders, as well as our community. And so this is filling the need of economic development, of jobs, of community management, of laws, parks and recreation, shared values, and taxes. Tourism and community go hand in hand. It's just how it works. You can't have one without the other, right? they support each other, and they have to work together. So this is the model to success we look to use and measure everything against. Additionally, when it comes to marketing tactic implementation, very important with travel cycles, right? When you're promoting travel, you want to look at this planning cycle. There are different moments that folks go through when they're interested in travel. You've all been there. And this path, it's not a linear, right? It's not like we go 1, 2, 3, 4. No, we don't do that. Sometimes we go 1, 4, 3, 2. There's a lot of back and forth that happens. And so what we look to do is establish our consumer journey touch points, right? Where are these consumers interacting and at what time? And that's when we serve them that right message, right person, right time. That's how we do it. Now, for the DMO or CAPC and our marketing efforts, we primarily live in 1 and 2. We also work in Section 5. For our stakeholders or business owners, your area is 3, 4, and 5, right? Those are your primary ownership spaces, and then we look to cultivate the first. So we do that handoff process that happens. We want to make sure that runs seamlessly. So let's jump right in, and let's start right where we start, and that's intelligence. I'm just going to do a brief recap of some trends that we're seeing, overall things that are happening in travel, and a little light look at what's happening here in Eureka Springs. So what we know, overall U.S. going into 2022, people are still interested in road trips, right? We know we've had some gas price ebb and flow, but we're finding it's leveling itself out, and folks want to travel. There's no doubt about it. We're especially expecting summer to tick up. Now, we know that they're looking for new and unique, authentic experiences. So this is a nice opportunity with the content and the campaigns that are being put up front, right? How do we highlight this feeling of newness? We're also looking for relaxation and wellness in addition to that authenticity. Now, we did highlight here because we know that dining is a key driver overall for travel, but we also know specifically to this market, it is actually your number one interest that you have, secondarily being events, right? And then we have outdoor recreation. So if we dive a little bit into Eureka Springs specifically, these are your top markets. This is what's coming in. All the data, everything that we see, these are your overall. So Springfield, right, we've got Little Rock, Tulsa, coming from the bottom up, Wichita, St. Louis, Joplin, and Dallas, Fort Worth, Oklahoma. But what's more important, what we talked about last time, right, is we also want to cultivate that higher income, higher spending traveler. And so we look to see where are we getting the greatest value from, right? Are we driving in travelers that are going to have the least amount of impact on our destination, right? We don't want to have overcrowding. We don't want to have overuse. We want it to feel nice and flowy. That's how you avoid over-tourism. We want to look for folks that are making their way around. They're not just bombing through, right? They're dining, they're shopping, they're staying, they're doing all the things. And so what we see overall spending, your top market, of course, is Little Rock, Oklahoma, Kansas City, Wichita, and Tulsa, but still tipping up as we're in the month of March we just came out of, and we're in April. Dallas is number 8 out of your top spend. However, 77% of those came from higher income households. So this is an opportunity market, and this has been integrated into our plan. All of the tactics that are running, they will be measured. So we'll go ahead and we're going to take a look and see how they're performing. And we look and say, okay, this is running well, we'll optimize it. Or if we see we need to do a pullback, we pull it back. Now, additionally, we look at how much overnight stay are we getting over day trippers, right? This kind of lets us know where we have some opportunity, 77% overnight. And then we also know that 77%, funny enough, overnight are from out of state. Obviously, out of state, let's look at your location, let's look at where you are, right? We're going to get a lot of that out of state travel. But it's just a huge opportunity to know that your brand message is out there, right? And then these folks are in their states, your border states, talking, and that message just resonates. And we definitely know the Northwest Arkansas region and Eureka Springs is hot this year. Lake Leatherwood and Lake Leatherwood Park were the most visited points of interest. So POI means points of interest. So that's a nice opportunity, incorporating that into messaging, highlighting the outdoors, highlighting what there is to do out on the lake. And we're just calling out so you're aware, that for last year we had March, June, and December were just standout months overall when it came to visitation. Now we're looking forward as the data comes in to be recapping next time we're here a little bit more about what we're seeing in 2022, but that's a running 12-month scale. So this slide, this is a really important slide, and we want to share this with you, right? This talks to you a little bit about our overall process, okay? Because we want you to see how we take that intelligence and then implement it in the plan that you have running, right? We just don't put these things together and then say, hey, here's your thing. We don't do that. We take all this intelligence and we have an actual process. So what we do is we take the intelligence that you saw in addition to all of our markets, our behaviors, our demographics, our geographics, all the data we pull from your website analytics, we pull from our intelligence platforms, we pull from our researchers, and we get an aggregate. And we make a composite called an intelligence brief. This intelligence brief is then brought to our creative team for concepting. And we work with that team to flesh out possible opportunities. So that Dallas market, for example, that's an opportunity. So we look to create specific campaigns and messaging that will speak to that Dallas traveler and encourage them to come here to Eureka Springs, spend their time, stay longer, spend some money, and hopefully on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, right? That's what we want to do. So we go ahead and we work with the team there, and that's how all your campaigns spin out. Then from there, after we've reviewed with all you, we then move it into media. Once you get into media planning, that brief translates itself along with the creative brief. And so now our media experts go, they tap into all of their relationships, where they're able to get that value add, make those negotiations, and they build what we like to call a symphony of a plan that's made specifically based on your intelligence brief and your creative brief. They put that all together, we present it out, you guys review it, approve it, comes back, we get going from there. Next step, well, you can't just run media and not have anywhere for them to go. That's where we go ahead and we look at the after the clip focus. So some of the things that we do is what's happening on the website. We talked about this a little bit last time, right? So we know currently we have some limitations on the website, but that's okay, because we've been able to identify really robust pages that we can edit and that we can get the right placement on, and we're going to drive them through. Some other click-throughs are going to go direct to you. Some other click-throughs are going to go to social, right? It's all about where we are in the cycle. And so we align this with each one of these briefs, and then we establish our tracking. Super important. Once we move from tracking, it's go time, which is where we are right now. So we are going, we are running, and we are in optimization, iteration, evolution, planning, all the things that you can imagine phase. And so this is what we're doing ongoing. If something happens, say with those gas prices, and we see a change, we're going to know about it, and we're going to make a change, right? We did this with COVID with you guys, so this is how this works. If something epic happens or this is a new event, we leave room to flex and push at all times. We're always looking for opportunities. So this is a recap of the process that happens internally and that happens with the CAPC team the entire time, every step of the way. So with that, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about social media, right? Let's get into that tactical piece. We've got this entire plan, so what are we doing with social media? And then Rudy's going to jump right into main media. Overall, social media goals and strategies, those are aligning with the goals that we talked about earlier, right? Brand, awareness, we want social-friendly, shareable, engageable content. We have a plan to curate more of this, so you have more of an arsenal, right? We're looking for folks that are in destination, that are sharing this through UGC. We're also looking to showcase the diverse travelers and traveler experiences of folks that are here in market. So our team works closely with Madison and Molly, identifying what's going to make sense, and works on that social calendar and strategy. They meet 2 or 3 times a month, depending on what's happening the month, to go ahead and look ahead. And you always want to be looking outwards when it comes to social, so very important. It's April right now. We need to be looking at June, July, and August, right? You want to start talking about stuff months ahead of time. Get that excitement up a little bit. We want to highlight business partners throughout Eureka Springs. I know a lot of you have been seeing this happening, right? You're seeing somebody pop up. They've got a schedule and a cadence. They're reaching out to folks and saying, get us a picture, get us an image, get us some details. It'll be happening throughout the year, so key priority. We also have partnering with niche targeting and influencers, content creators and artists for reels, different opportunities there. Looking at your #1 activities, right? The foodie focus, event promotions, and outdoor travel. So again, everything's lining up with that right message, right place, right time. Hand this off to you.
Yeah, thanks, Nicole. Hopefully you can hear me okay. And I know that some of these I'm going to stay here so you can stay out there. Some of these graphs and charts might be a little difficult to read on this screen. So this is available. I think we can get it from Madison. So just ask, and it's completely available. So from a paid media perspective, right? So social media is organic. From a paid media perspective, we're going to take all that information that Nicole just talked about, right? All of that intelligence, all of that data, and develop the strategy moving forward. As she mentioned, that symphony, if you will. One of the areas from a paid media perspective, we definitely want to reach people that are going to visit and travel here and stay here during the week, right? So that's a huge portion of our tactics and strategies. We also think, because of that, boomers, active boomers, retirees, those are great individuals that allow us to be able to have that flexibility to travel whenever they want, right? Every day is Saturday to them. We want to convert, people that are just coming down for the day or over for the day. We want to convert them into overnight stays. So there's some tactics that we can use in order to reach them just before they arrive and while they're here, actually. Maybe they're having such a great time they decide to stay the night. We're also going to utilize a couple of tactics. Native content in order to inform people, right? So native, if you think about it, that's the sort of uninterrupted flow of what you're reading on a piece of content, right? So as you're scrolling through a website, it pops up. It interests you, maybe there's an image or a video or some copy that interests you, you click on it and it takes you to a longer format piece of information. So we're able to really tell the Eureka Springs story in that native content. So we use that for education and information. We're also going to be using digital video. That's just like basically TV on your laptop or maybe your mobile device or even on your screen at home. We're able to kind of inspire people, get them dreaming about what it might be like to visit here. And then paid social is just a way to continue to hit them in the places that they are. We talked about right person, right time, and right channel. We want to make sure that we're in there as well. So we've broken it down from a paid media perspective into 4 major campaigns. We're going to have our Always On campaign, which started, so that will go through probably just before the holidays in December, so like December 15th, December 20th timeframe. Then we'll ramp up spring, summer. That's where we're at now. That will go through June. We'll switch to the fall, winter. That will go July through that middle of December. That has not yet been planned. We want to take the information that we learned from spring, summer and apply that knowledge to the fall campaign. So I won't be going through that information today, but we'll come back to present that to you. And then our regional approaches. So if you think about our targeting and all the markets that Nicole mentioned about visitation, we want to reach that higher yielding visitor, somebody that's going to spend more and stay longer. So we take all that information and make sure that we're hitting the right geographic markets as well. But at the same time, we don't want to ignore the people that can come over for the day or for the weekend for a quick trip, spend time downtown or shopping around out on the ridge, wherever, right? We want to make sure that we're still getting those day trippers because they spend money in the market as well. So we'll be reaching them from a regional perspective. So really quick, just looking at the demographic profile of our audience segments. So we layer on the geographic, which Nicole mentioned, and then layer into that the demographic profile. So adults 25 to 54, household income of 75,000 plus. We're looking at younger people, but we're also looking at boomers as well. So I don't want you to think that we're ignoring anybody. Really, it's anybody over 25 to 54 that we're targeting, and then specifically with boomers as well. Couples and families. We know that Eureka Springs can cater to all types of individuals that want to travel here. We want to make sure that we're hitting their interests, so we layer in some behavioral interests into the targeting efforts. Outdoor nature, ecotourism, cycling, biking, touring, getting here on their bike, that sort of thing. Arts, culture, history, Food, obviously, the foodies, and then any type of craft or local experiences as well. We want to make sure that we're layering in those types of behaviors. And then we've got some niche audiences specifically that we have very targeted channels that we're going with, LGBTQ and then outdoor enthusiasts. So this always on campaign, so this is something that's kind of just like, it's always out there, it never stops. We don't ramp up, it's just steady Eddie, and it happens basically from the start of the year all the way through the mid-December. And we use that sort of lower funnel type of tactics in order to reach those individuals. So those are people that might be actively looking for a vacation. So we do that through Facebook and Instagram, Pinterest, paid search, especially if they're looking like, hey, how do I, where can I ride my bike when I'm in town? How do I get there if I want to take a very scenic drive? Where's the best place to eat? We want in Eureka Springs. We want to make sure that we're reaching those people that are actively looking for things to do in Eureka Springs. And then through video on YouTube. So you look at the, April through December, always on campaign, we're expecting about 10.4 million impressions to be served during that time, which is a pretty significant number. So during the spring-summer campaign, again, which is where we are right now, so you think about it, an infusion of budget to impact spring-summer visitation. We'll definitely be reaching them through digital, and that's online display. And we'll make sure that we're reaching people with all those targeting efforts in where they're looking for information. And we use partners like Priceline and Expedia, and then our partner with Adara. So these are, again, our people that are actively looking for vacations to in and around this area. So we use a tactic called conquesting. So that might be somebody who's looking for a different destination, a competitive destination, let's say. Maybe it's Branson, maybe it's Hot Springs, and we serve them with the Eureka Springs ad. So that's a tactic that we use. We know that about 70% of the visitation to the Eureka Springs website comes from a mobile device. So we want to make sure that we're on that platform as well. So we have a very robust mobile campaign that we'll be using. And then I talked about the native content through Lonely Planet. We think that this audience that goes to Lonely Planet and their channels is a great alignment with the Eureka Springs visitor, so we want to make sure we're there as well. Also, we'll be using email marketing, and this is through the Visit Arkansas Co-op. So we'll be taking advantage of some of the state opportunities that they offer. I mentioned the video and how we'll be on every screen essentially, but specifically if you own a Vizio TV, you know that they have their own content that they can provide to you. We can tap into that channel or series of channels actually, and actually target people behaviorally and geographically as well through the Vizio app. So that's pretty cool. So you're actually seeing TV spots in your living room. And then through print as well with Visit Arkansas and the co-op opportunities there, along with data, so in our partnership there. So the spring-summer campaign, we're looking at over 8 million impressions during that time. Specifically to reach the LGBTQ audience, we're going to be partnering with a vendor, Q Digital, that reaches that audience in a number of different ways. One of the ways that they do that, they have a travel section called Gay Cities. And Eureka Springs has its own page. Basically, it's like the TripAdvisor for the LGBTQ audience, and we can provide native content that lives there and tell our story about why it's a great place to visit. Almost 700,000 impressions through that channel. When we look to the regional campaign, so we're kind of a little bit closer to home to reach this audience, again, April through May, an infusion of dollars to that geographic target. Paid social, paid search. We're going to work with Bo Dalton. We had done this in the past. He's a radio personality out of Fort Smith. We had good success with that relationship a couple of years ago. We're going to bring that back. And then we have print insertions in Cityscapes magazine and in the Fun Guide, again, to promote local activities, people looking for what to do in the area. Again, about 4.2 million impressions for that. That's the paid media section, so now we go to earned media or public relations. And one of the things that we've had, been able to enjoy working with Eureka Springs is you've got a great story to tell, and writers love to write about Eureka Springs. We've had great success. So really, we just want to continue to build upon that success. I think we've done a great job of making that connection. If you think about public relations, it's sort of a long play. You develop a relationship with a publication or a writer. You provide them information. I think now we'll actually be able to get them to travel to the destination as well. There was a hiatus of visitation. Most writers didn't want to do that during the pandemic, which is understandable. They're starting to do that again, so we want to invite them here, give them a taste of what people can experience, and then they go back and write about it. So one of the successes that we just recently had was a relationship that we developed about 6 months ago with a writer in Southern Living magazine. And Eureka Springs became the number 5 best mountain towns in America. And this just ran, I think it was March, yeah. So last month. So that's a really huge success. We're proud of that placement. That gets seen by millions of people. So not only does it live online, but it also lives in the print publication that stays on people's coffee tables for years and years and years. So that's a great success. And we would continue that. We want to make sure that we're reaching out to publications, you know, in those drive markets, in those direct feeder markets into XNA or maybe even Springfield. We also want to reach into where the publications are, right? New York, Chicago, LA, Atlanta. So we actually take a national focus to our public relations efforts. We've got a team of 6 PR professionals that reach out to their contacts on your behalf. So we're excited about the momentum that we've been able to gain and where it's going to head this year. Web and digital, that's back to you, Nicole.
So we're jumping right into web and digital. I would like to say on the PR standpoint, you know, Southern Living was an awesome win, no doubt, and as Rudy mentioned, that was a long-term haul. Eureka Springs had so many placements as we recap the last time we were here in 2021. I would like to share with you, there's not a place that we don't go, right? We travel around a lot. This is what we do. We love travel and it's our business. Where folks are not saying to us, what is going on in Eureka Springs? They are in every magazine and every article and on the tip of everyone's mouth. So this is some really awesome success that you all have contributed to, right? We've got a great PR team that's out there and has these long-term relationships with these writers for years, but if you didn't have the product, they'd have nothing to write about. And y'all have hosted them, you've shared your hospitality with them, fed them good food, and really made that experience. So I cannot speak to the volume of gratitude that we have from you all for that. It's really gone far. So bringing this back, right? Let's bring it back to intelligence. Let's bring it back to this digital strategy. I went over some key stuff with you at the beginning. I went over some stuff with you last month we were here. We include some reporting and intelligence in each of our monthly reporting. What we include in there is a sampling of leveraging your partnership with Northwest Arkansas's Tourism Association, right? So there's some little pieces that we can extract, but we can't yet dive in and say, hey, what's the overall impact of Mardi Gras on the destination, right? Let's get a case study going there. What's the overall impact during this season? That makes it a little bit tough. So your CAPC team has decided this year they're going to double down and they're investing in intelligence for you all. So we're going to be moving forward with looking at what's going to be a best fit through exploratory process. This is a game changer. This is what you need. Every destination is using intelligence platforms. This is where we want to be. Why are they using them? Because it enables us to quantify efforts. It enables us to quantify what's happening here on the ground. We get to understand arrivals, behaviors, origins, where they're coming from. You get monthly, quarterly, annual reporting, grab-and-go reporting that can be 24 hours out. We're able to customize strategies to meet the destination and your community goals, all in this platform. And it aggregates everything in. So we're excited to keep going down this path with you, and I want to be back here reporting on where we are in a couple months and let you know how that's netting out.
Can I jump in just for a second? So what's I think is great about our doubling down on data and intelligence specifically for Eureka Springs is over the last couple of years, the tourism industry has evolved and changed. We had a record-breaking year in 2019, and then 2020 the world stopped, and in 2021 things kind of changed and shifted. We don't know how this is going to net out and what the new normal of travel will look like. I think by having this intelligence, we'll be able to get a baseline of information. We can look back for sure, but we'll have a baseline that we can further, report against moving forward, so we have an understanding of how this actually is going to trend.
Yeah, that's a nice story to be able to tell for sure. What else is a nice story? It's your website, and that's probably what I'm the most excited to be here to talk about today. So this is just a nice quote that we like, right? A website is a living, breathing piece of your acquisition and marketing strategy and should be treated as such, right? This is your primary interface. This is your gateway to all those that are not in the area. This is one of the first things that they see and they interact with. They see these ads, they see social media, and they always find their way to the website. And so it's essential that it be reflective of your brand and everything that you believe. It's essential that it also reflect the destination, right? You want it to be unique. You want it to feel like Eureka Springs. You want it to flow, live, and breathe like Eureka Springs. And so we are kicking off the website, and we couldn't be more thrilled to do it. Official kickoff happens tomorrow, so super excited about it. Patrick is going to be participating in that kickoff. We're excited to have him there with us as well. And everything that comes out of it is going to be brought back to you. So I'm going to talk to you a little bit about that. What are our overall goals website-wise? We really want to look at the site architecture and optimization opportunities. So some of the stuff that we do up front is we dig into what's existing, how all of the connections are made, what are the dependencies. Something as simple as a form. Well, what's this form for? Who uses it? Where does it go after? Who collects the information? How do they use it after they get it, right? Everything has multiple steps, and this is what we dig into so we can solve for this future website and have it have a nice user flow. So everything is going to be designed and flow-wise, UX, UI focused, and optimized. We want to factor in what we've heard out of you, community goals and visitor goals, right? We want to get those all up front. So again, this thing live and breathes, feels like Eureka Springs. Landing page strategies, so key to have some optimizations when it comes to our campaigns, but also just that overall user interaction, right? We want to make sure when we get to a site, there's not 15 swipes to get to the information that we need. That's not going to help anybody, right? You want to get the user exactly to where you want them. We actually will share with you a little bit more about this later, but we use the laws of UX when we do our design process. And so we go through, the laws of UX are based on studies, peer-reviewed studies of how humans interact, right? Speed is important to them. How much is presented up front? A clean design, right? People don't want to be over-cluttered, right? Good design is actually less. So we use a lot of this in our process so that we can understand that user flow, and then we measure it afterwards. We want to have a heavy focus on content audit and our development, which I'll talk about in a minute. But big thing, heavy focus on this events feed approach, right? So this is going to be a total dissection. We're taking it back to science class in 5th grade. We are going to tear apart this events feed. What is happening right now? How are these events coming in? What other feeds exist in the destination? Can we create something that can be leveraged by others? Can we possibly create one universal feed for the entire destination? I don't know, but we're going to find out. So this is going to be an exciting exploratory process. Content-wise, we go through an entire audit. What are we keeping, right? What are we purging? What are we proceeding with? What do we need to optimize? We're going to be creating some new content. We want to make sure that we get outdoors, events, and foodie focused. Through the entire website build, we take care of identifying everything that we need to do for Google, right? Our 301 redirects, all of our optimizations, all of our SEO. All of this gets done in the content part. Our web developer is going to be writing a custom script so we can migrate everything from the current site over and get it into this new site. We go through a full proofing process there. This is an eye chart, but basically what this is telling you here is these are our phases: kickoff, discovery, we build, we do content, we do proof and deploy, and then we do ongoing evolutions of the site. All of these tracks run very similar lines, so it's not like we do build and then when we're done, okay, it's built, now let's do content. content comes in, right time, right place, right? So we start that at the same time so everything's ready to go. We're going to be putting together a timeline with your team, and that will be shared with you. So that gets us into our next steps, right? What do you have to look forward to? Well, we've actually got some team members that'll be in market for your end of the month meetings, so they'll probably be reporting back on some of the happenings in the last couple weeks. We just love it here in Eureka, and we keep coming. We know that we're going to be continuing our ongoing biweekly collaborational meetings with your team. So as I said, some of those happen more on account side. A lot of them happen around the reporting, and a lot of those happen around our content planning management. Additionally, we'll continue our monthly, quarterly, and annual reporting. And then, of course, whatever you guys need ad hoc in the middle, we're always available for. But we want to make sure you have this stuff in your hands. We've identified scheduled commission updates, right? Especially with this new website build. We really want to make sure that you guys are all aware of the process and involved in a way where I don't want you to feel like, oh, we're doing a new website, and then I come back here in 6 months and like, here's your new website, and you're like, I've never seen this thing before. We want you to be with us every step of the way while we have these sprints and touch points. And so we're going to do these commission updates to keep you involved and keep you informed. Those will most likely happen during workshops, during your project progress reports. Additionally, excitingly, looking forward to that industry communication rollout. So part of why we have a couple team members in market in a few weeks is that's where that kickoff is happening too, right? So they're working with Madison and Molly on getting that industry email cadence set up. That's really exciting. We've heard a lot of folks from the city and parks that want to be involved in that. They want to get their updates in there. So that's really a nice tool. We're working on some of the other communication plans there, meeting the needs that we heard from all of you. And then, of course, big thing is, and we had to put it in here, October 22 planning kickoff for 2023. Everyone heard that loud and clear. We want to make sure that we bring that up because that was important to all you. And so even though that fiscal alignment can't be there, at Paradise, we're happy to get that thing started in October, and that's where that intelligence, as Rudy said, is going to come in, and that's going to nicely fall in line with the winter planning. So I think that's going to be successful. That's about all we have today. Just a big thank you for having us here today, and I'm glad I didn't mess up this mic. I think Ron was a little worried about me, that I was going to spill over or cause problems. So now it's Jeff's coming on down.
Thank you.
Oh, there's no clapping.
Thank you. Are we going to do questions, Jeff? Yeah, questions, comments.
Commissioners, do you have any
More
questions?
applause. We take it all.
I know. Questions or comments?
Hello, you guys.
Hello.
I am so impressed with this presentation, and I am so thrilled to see what's going to happen this next year.
We are
So-
too. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm really glad about the website. We need help.
Yeah, long
So,
time.
yeah, thank you. Thank you guys for being here.
Thank you.
Thank you. It's been awesome. All right.
Anyone else?
Harry, you got nothing? Nothing out of you? Come on. How's the squirrel? Tell us about how he's doing.
Huh?
Your squirrel.
My squirrel.
Yeah, how's he doing?
Well, they're waiting for the tourists to come
That
give,
right?
give them tips. It looks great. It's about time, and the
Yeah.
website's been neglected forever.
Yeah.
And I still wish we could get a hold of eurekasprings.com. Maybe we can get that done.
Sounds like a good thing for you to work on for us, Harry.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I'll go visit him.
You go
you go.
visit and you
Thank
let
you,
us
Harry.
know how that works out.
Nick, do you have any questions or anything?
We're just going to start calling people
I
out.
know.
So
Yeah, I'm
these-
like,
Glad to be
please
here
come
in
up and tell us
person,
we're great.
and that was excellent, guys, and look forward to working with you guys. I'm starting with marketing and have a new head of marketing I'm onboarding, so look forward to working with all this together and work with you. And if you ever have any call-outs or questions, just ask me or ask us and stuff. And I look forward to being back present again. So, because I'm sorry with my husband being in the hospital and stuff too.
worries.
On top of it, I was kind of disconnected there for like a month. So it's good to be back and see such great things happening. So we appreciate you greatly.
Well,
Great.
yeah,
Thanks,
thank
Nick.
you, and thank you,
Good
Nick.
to
It's
see
so
you.
great to
Yeah.
have you part of the team. We've got some great new faces this year, right, Nick and Autumn. It's been really nice. So, and with you onboarding your new marketing folks, you let us know if you need anything from our end too. This presentation will be sent out by Madison and Molly after the meeting, so you have it in your hands. I saw a couple of you taking notes, but don't worry about it. You're going to get everything that you need afterwards.
Patrick, do you have any questions, comments?
Great.
Jeff?
Yeah.
That's it. I just wanted to remind between the auditorium, the website, and all the other good stuff that we've got going on, we're really building something here really that I think will benefit us long term. If anybody else has anything, any questions? Okay, that's it.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you all so much. Great to see you.